Hi everyone, this is Diane. Look at this, all this color. I'm working on these journals, Rainbow Grunge journals I'm calling them Rainbow Grunge Glamour because I've added the glamour with the fashion illustrations that I'm using in the book. A lot of them are black and white to kind of contrast with the very, very colorful digitals. The digitals don't take up a lot of space in these journals. I only have 6 digital pages for each journal, and they are quite a bit smaller than the book cover. So it's not like they're dominating, but they are very vibrant, and I will be accenting with lots of other colors. So we need something to tone it down. So these are the 2 covers. I think I had this one all put together on the other video. And then it's the same thing. I added the same fabric, whichever one whatever one I put together yesterday. They're both the same as far as the fabric on the spine and the trims that I used. So I did spend time dyeing the paper, as I told you yesterday, and I ironed the papers that were dyed. I just wanted them ironed flat, and I got them cut, and I sewed a strip. I cut off the height, and then I took that strip that I cut off and added it to the end so that it would be wide enough. So I've got that all done, and the pages are collated together. So I had to decide on how I would arrange the pages, so I will talk to you about that. I wanted you to see the bright colors when you opened it up, so I put the page in the front. I normally put a scrapbook paper page at the beginning of my signature because that is typically cut the full size of whatever the full size pages are going to be in the book. But it's also fun to have a smaller page on the front so you can see several layers behind it. So that's what I did. I wanted you to see this bright color when you opened the journal, especially since I'll probably add a little something on these pages. I haven't decided, or on the end papers. I haven't decided yet. So you get a pop of color, and then you have a neutral page. And the scrapbook paper that I chose is very muted in color because I didn't want it to compete with or clash with the digital papers. So they're very muted, and I just lightly dipped them into the coffee bath. I just kind of skimmed them across the top so that the back side got dyed, and then of course it got on the top too, but I didn't want them to be super saturated. And then I laid them on the paper toweling that the other pages, these pages, were on, where I sprayed them. So there's color on the paper toweling, so some of that color attached itself to the page. Not a lot, but just a little bit, which I wanted it to do. So we do have a lot of neutral pages and a lot of bright colors, and then some more muted colors. And I'm hoping to print envelopes. My printer isn't working. I don't know why. It's not printing. Sometimes I have to turn it off and wait, and then turn it back on, and then it'll print whatever I had asked it to print. I've turned it off twice. I've unplugged it, plugged it back in. It's just not printing. So I don't know. I don't know what to tell you about that. So I had some digital envelopes in my files on my computer that I was going to print for the center, but we'll see. So what am I going to do today? You can see that I added some sari silks to the fronts, and in the center I added the colorful pom-pom trim that I picked up at Joann's a little while ago. So I thought today I want to see where I can put some of these things. So I have a pocket and a tuck spot for each journal, and then I have tags, and I'll just figure out what pages I want these things on. I think we'll have a pocket on this page, so maybe that, and that. So you can see that poking out, and that'll have something in it. So when you open the journal, you'll see this bright page and a neutral page, and then some of this party happening back here. And you'll see the whatever I put in there poking out there. So I think that's a good place to put this pocket. There's also something I want to do with a stamp, some stamps on some of those neutral pages. So hang in there while I add these things into the pages. I did want to say, I did a video where I embossed these cards, and I always check because sometimes the embossing folder makes cracks, and it did. It made cracks in the cardstock. So I just put a piece of paper on there. I keep these, I have a stack of these pages that came out of something, and I like the color because they're not bright white, and they're thin, but they add a little stability. So that's what I added there, so that you can put things in and out without worrying about damaging that embossed card. So I will have bits of the Rainbow Grunge digital paper to tear up and cut up to help add color to the neutral pages and the pockets and things. And I also want to add the stamps. I went to my collection of stamps and pulled a stack of the plastic cases off the shelf and thought, let's see, just look and see if something looks like it wants to be in these journals. And the first handful of stamps packages that I pulled off, I had 3 sets in there that I wanted, so I just put everything else back, and I'm going with those because they have multiple stamps in them, so you'll see them in a minute. All right, there's that one. Now I did have a larger neutral page. This one. This is actually a page from the composition book. And I just folded in the end. And I love how crinkly it is because it's a thinner paper. So I had this here so that when you open the book, you saw this bright page and then a larger neutral border around it. But I didn't like the way it competed with the ruffle once I put that on. So I swapped it out for a smaller page that was further inside the book. I just made them switch places. I think that was here. I don't know, maybe it was on the other side of it, but we'll figure it out later. There's one, so I'll put one in this journal. I love these little pockets. I have so much fun making pockets and tags. It's one of my very favorite things to do in making these journals. Don't want to stick it down too far where the glue is still wet. Okay, and then we have a tuck spot. So I'll put that in a different signature. And I only have those 2 pockets so far. Let's put it on the back side. Put one there. And I don't have anything to tuck in it yet. This is the fun, one of the very fun parts for me, is once I have the signatures, the pages all cut and collated into a signature and the journal covers are done, and it's really time to start playing. I'm adding things in. I love that part. And then I add some stuff in. I will often make some of the ephemera tags and pockets before I get to this stage, because that's what I want to do on a video when I'm prepping the journal. It's an easy, quick video to put together. So, oops, I just smeared glue on her. So I'll put in what I have made, or find a spot for it anyway. And then that helps me see what else I need. Now, I have these tags, so I will have to create pockets for them. So I'll just find a page to put them on. This one has the big tags, so whatever pocket goes here, I guess, will have this big tag. So I'm going to put this here to remind me that I need to add a pocket to hold this large tag. This is the one that I added it's actually netting from a vintage hat, and I did add a little dab of glue to hold it down, and you can see it's shiny where the glue is. Oh, I wanted to tell you too, when I made these, I hadn't added the flower yet. I thought about that before I glued her down, so I put it behind her, and I just chose a smaller one to put there on top of her. So if you didn't see the other video, her head was cut off flat because she was in a square. So I cut this off of a different lady, this hat, and in the photo she had a black veil on. So I took this little piece of veiling from vintage millinery stuff that I had taken off of old hats and glued it on there to this hat. But then I hadn't done this part yet. So I liked this little pink flower reinforcement, and I put it on there and thought it's kind of small for that big tag. And then I have another tag. It's a Tim Holtz tag die that it comes with these larger reinforcements, 3 different ones. And I tried that one and layered them, and I love it. I think it's so cute. So I'll be doing more layering of tags. This can go here. And then I get to create another pocket for these pages. And then this one will go here. So these tags are very colorful, so I don't think that the pocket that it goes in will have too much detail, I guess. It will be more simple for those last 2 pockets or tags that I just pinned in. This one has more detail, at least some detail, but these are a little bit more subdued, these tags. So I just don't like to put chaotic tags in a chaotic pocket. Does that make sense? And it's not chaos, but you know what I'm saying. Too much going on. So that's what I had done. I also have some colorful library pockets to add, and some of these glassine bags that I will add in somewhere. But I want to make sure I have time to do this stamping stuff. I'm hoping it's going to work. So these are the stamps I decided on. They're all Tim Holtz. This one is called Remnants. It looks like remnants of wallpaper, and it's one of my favorites. This one is called Eclectic Edges. And this one is Flower Shop. And this was the first one I looked at when I pulled the stack off the shelf. I thought, perfect. And then I saw those other 2, and I thought, perfect, perfect. So I'm going to try something, and I think I left my spray bottle of water out where I was doing my paper dyeing yesterday. I have to go grab it. All right, sorry about that, but Teddy is here today. He's right outside this room practicing his chess moves because he's going to be in a virtual chess tournament starting tomorrow. And he's here to help me if I need help editing out something, like leaving this room to go find my water. All right, I'm going to practice on this first. I'm going to get some colors of ink. Red, lipstick, teal, which is Lost Lagoon, bright yellow, and Call Me Clover. That's a good place to start. Now, I've done something like this before, but not with anything this big. I'm going to put some colors on this. Start with the yellow because it's the lightest color. I think what I did before was I colored it with markers because I could be a little more precise and not muddy the ink pads, but we're just gonna try. Now I'm going to spray this, and hopefully we'll get a nice watercolor effect when I stamp it. Hope that wasn't too much water. That, I think, was too much water. Okay, look how pretty that looks though. Oh, let's try something else with this. I just had an idea. I'm gonna dry this. This is just practice. If we like it, we're going to have to do it all over again on the page. Oh! It's a lot of black in this, so this might not work. It's not just an outline stamp. It's pretty filled in, but let's try it and see. Okay, so that gives it some more detail, and I do like that. You can still see a lot of the color. But I think maybe we'll go with markers like I did before. I don't know how good these are because I've had these for a long time, and my Stampin' Up! Markers. It's the wrong end. And I just won't put as much water on it. This is a thin page, so it might show through the page, but we're going to go for it. Oh, that looks nice. Maybe we don't even need to add the black. I think I like it with the black. So I will add that, but I'll probably just save this on here and add more color to it and do the other page in the other book. And then I'll do the black at the same time. So let's move on to a different stamp. I'll just leave this where it can dry. Try. I think on the back side, I'll do one of these remnants like this. And I think I'll just use these colors for this, these ink pads. Oops. I'm going to glue it. I don't want any accidents dropping it where I don't want it when it's all wet. That was Lost Lagoon. This is lipstick. Yep. Messing up my ink pad. I can already see how vibrant the color is when I spray the water on. So we lost a lot of the detail of the lace, and there's not much yellow in there because I did that last and didn't want to mess up my pad too much. So I'm going to add a little yellow. I'll take it off of that. Okay, that does add a little bit of yellow up there. Okay, I like the color, so let's just add some black to it so we can get that detail of the lace back in there. When I did this before, it was more of a line drawn design and not so much filled in detail. So it turned out really nice, but I'm liking this too. It's fun to experiment. Yes, look how nice that looks. I like that. Yes, you can see it through, but I don't mind. And now in the last signature, I have 3 different flower stamps from the flower shop, so I'll put a different one on the front, and then one of those eclectic designs on the back, and maybe, or what are these called? Fragments, and these are eclectic edges. One of these would look good right here. Let's do that. We'll try this one. Let's see. We need orange in here too. I don't see my orange ink pad. And I know I have one. Oh, here it is. I got it out to make labels the other day. I don't even know if I want to add black to that. Kind of went off the page more than I wanted to. That looks nice. So you'd have the flower here, somewhere here, and then turn the page and you'll have that. And I'll probably put a different design on that edge. How are we doing time-wise? Okay, we can play some more. try something with that. Look at that. I got most of that color off. I think I just covered up all the yellow. Yeah, it's pretty much all green now. Green and the blue. Get that wet and the glue comes right off. Because the flowers on the digital kit have a watercolor look, I wanted to try this out. I'm going to take this off. You can see the pattern quite nicely there. So I'm going to leave that and just stamp other places. I'm liking it. Let's try another of the flowers. Let's do this one. I can't tell what kind of flower it is. This one's going to take some coloring. I think I'll use hot pink. Let's use hot pink. I'll just try to guess where the flowers are. And because once it's sprayed, it's all going to blend and it won't really matter. So I'm just trying to see what's a flower shape and what's a leaf shape. And I'll use a brighter green this time. And I can be a little less precise because like I said, we're going to spray it. So if I miss a spot, nobody will ever know. So if you're doing this just to stamp it and not spray it, after it takes a while to do it on some of these stamps, and so the first thing you colored might be starting to dry out. You just huff on it with your breath to kind of reactivate it, and then stamp it. Something I learned in my Stampin' Up! Workshop days, when my friends and I used to have Stampin' Up! Workshops, and then we would learn all these different techniques. But I don't know where I learned this one. This wasn't from Stampin' Up!, the spraying it with water. I don't know where I saw that. Very nice. I like that. And I don't know if I want to add black to that. You can tell it's flowers and leaves. But if all of the other ones end up with black on them, I'll do that one too. So maybe this one will be a yellow rose with some orange on it. So obviously these are water-based markers. If you're going to use alcohol-based markers, I've never tried this with them, but you could maybe spray some alcohol on them and see what happens. This color is Gumball Green. It's even a fun name. Stampin' Up! Doesn't keep their colors. Some of them are pretty standard and they keep them, but they do have seasonal colors, or not seasonal, but they change them out. They call them in color. So maybe with the current, decorating colors, and they have quite a few each year. They'll have, this one seems kind of dry. They have some colors for a 2-year period, and then the next year they'll introduce another set of colors for a 2-year period, so they overlap 1 year. And then the next year, the first set of colors is gone, and they have another set for 2 years. And the second set is still there for another year. Does that make sense? So I don't go to Stampin' Up! Parties anymore. We just don't get together and do that. I do have a demonstrator, but she lives a little distance away from me, and I don't have that many friends that would come to the parties. It's usually just the same couple of friends, sisters. But I should probably do it again. If nothing else, just for us to get together. We all grew up, the demonstrator and the two sisters, we all grew up in the same church, but we don't go to the same church anymore, but we're still friends. That looks pretty good, but that definitely needs black on it. So I wonder what the difference would be if I stamped it and then sprayed it with water. Maybe I did that before. I don't remember. We could try that. Oh, I forgot the orange. I do love yellow roses, but I wanted to add some orange in here just to give it some more color. So I'm going to add a darker green on some of the places. And some orange. What's that? It's rust. I apparently don't have an orange marker. What's this? More mustard. We'll try that one. That's a really old one. I'll do the center and the buds. Adds a little bit more, and it's kind of off, but that's okay because it's just an abstract watercolor look. Very nice. Definitely looks abstract, but I like it. I'm going to try one more thing on this before we go away. I have these little background pieces from 1997. They're pretty old. And I'm going to try the Lovely lipstick because I just feel like it needs a little more color here. Okay. Stamp once and stamp again. Yeah, I think that adds just what it needed. I like that. Well, I'm going to have fun coloring the rest of these pages. It's 3 stamping adventures on one page. Well, actually 4, because I'll use a different border on each page. So a flower and a remnant and 2 borders on each of these pages. And I have 6 of these pages to do. So that ought to keep me occupied for a little while. And I even like how it looks on the reverse side. That's pretty. This feels like and sounds like parchment. This thin, vintage composition book paper that's coffee dyed. Also, I wanted to point out that the oldest of these composition books had the holes very close together. They're not that close together anymore, and even the other one didn't have them that close. So I will have to, just to be safe, I'm going to reinforce that with a thin strip of paper on this side probably. Yeah, this is really fun. So, what time is it? Yeah, I have to go for a walk with Teddy before his mom comes. So I have to just leave this mess here and hopefully get back to it later. But I'm glad you came along with me today for this experiment. Tell me what you think. I'm just gonna clean this off and stamp the black on it because I want to see what it looks like. And then we'll go. I'll have Teddy watch me as I edit out the part where I left the room to go get my spray bottle. And we'll get it started uploading and we will go for a walk. Because it's very spring-like weather here. Next week it's going to get cold again. But it feels like spring here in the middle of February. Okay, let's see if I can line this up nicely. Not too bad. Must be I didn't color that leaf at all when I did the colors. But that's okay, it looks good, just that black hanging out there. Okay. Tell me what you think about this technique and come on back to see what happens next in these journals. I hope you're having a creative day, and I'll see you soon. Bye.